once heard someone say that a prepared messenger is better than a prepared message.
What does that even mean?
It means that if I want to have an incredible day, not a day where I just survive, but a day that I thrive, I gotta start it off right. So in today's video, I'm gonna walk you through my morning routine and talk to you about how I get primed for the day so that I can have the best day I possibly can.
Best day ever.
So on the front end, I want you to know that I have changed my morning routine a gazillion times, right? Like more times than I can even remember. And not just big giant changes sometimes, but sometimes it's these little tiny changes that I've made over time. A quick search on Google is going to give you so many things that you should be doing in the beginning of your day, from jumping in the sauna to jumping in the ice bath, to taking a cold shower, to taking a 10-mile run before the sun comes up, to taking all these different probiotics and all the stuff. It's completely overwhelming. So what I have found, and what I'm going to tell you on the front end, is maybe there's some nuggets here for you. But maybe this doesn't fit exactly who you are, but I'm always looking for tweaks. So that's kind of why I'm sharing this, is like, this is how I get ready for my day and how I got ready for the classroom every day for almost 20 years to really show up and be at my best when I walked into the classroom. And you know, that being said, what I'm going to walk you through is not a finished product. The more I learn about myself, the more I learn about what I need, the more I learn about what is possible, this will continue to evolve. And that's why I don't make it like a hard and fast routine. It's more of a rhythm. I'm finding my rhythm more and more as time goes on. All right, so first thing, I wake up every morning between 5 and 5:30.
It's not even light out.
That is not hard for me anymore. I like doing it, and that's not like sort of a flex. I don't stay up late, and you'll see that at the end of this. I need minimum 7 hours of sleep a night. So I have to go to bed early so that I can get up early. And I'm gonna tell you this, one of my old students, DJ Dirty Kev, his dad used to say, the only people out after dark are cops and robbers. And so I just love that. But I know for myself that nothing good is happening if I stay up like past 10. I'm just like scrolling social, I'm watching nonsense, I start eating nonsense. And so I found for myself that it's going to bed at a reasonable hour and then backwards engineering that. Like I figure out, what do I need for 7 hours of sleep? That has changed over the years. It used to be 6. When I was in my 20s, I could literally get by on 4.5 hours of sleep a night, no more. I need 7.5 hours of sleep to be great. Then I wake up feeling awesome. So it's not hard to get up at 5 or 5:30. Immediately, so this is number 2, immediately after I wake up, I just smile. This is silly sounding. I smile as big as I can. So I'm laying there, my eyes are often still closed. I smile as big as I smile because I'm just grateful that I'm alive. I say a quick prayer, and you know, when I think about things I'm grateful for, it doesn't have to be anything like monumental. For me though, at this age, I'm gonna be 47 next month. I have outlived both of my parents. And so either one of my parents have lived as long as I have lived right now. None of them made it to 46 even. So it just puts a smile on my face. I have the gift of being here. And I just think that's a fun way to start your day off. Number 3, my first act is I go out and I make coffee, but I make coffee for my wife and I. My wife sleeps a little bit later than I do. I get up, I boil the water, I fill the French press because she doesn't want to do a coffee machine, which would be a whole lot easier. But she doesn't always watch my videos anyway, so I can say it here. But I gotta do it the fancy way. I put it in the French press and I make coffee. I set it up nicely on the counter, and I usually write either like a love note, or I'll write a Bible verse for my wife, and I leave it on a sticky note so when she comes down, everything is ready, everything's neat, everything's clean, everything's ready for her. So I want to make sure that my first act of every single day is an act of love.
You see grand romantic concepts.
Once my coffee's ready, sometimes I'm on my couch, sometimes I just sit in my office chair, but I typically meditate for about 20 minutes after that, and that ebbs and flows depending on like how focused I am, how deep of meditation I can get into. But I really just want to start my day quietly. My coffee's usually too hot to drink right away because I'm sensitive, and so I wait and I meditate for about 20 minutes where I'm just kind of being still. And that is really good for everything about me. I mean, looking up the science of this, it's evident that this is important, but starting the day not feeling jumping out of bed. I'm not Zach Morris and the alarm clock's out of order. I don't think I'm gonna make it on time. It is intentionally starting my day slow. The next thing I do is I read or I pray. I juggle between. I will sometimes read like a self-help book, or if I'm in the middle of a book, right now I'm reading a book called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. I might be reading something like that, but typically I'm reading the Bible in the morning and then I pray after that. I pray with intentionality. So I pray, and not to get too far into this, like these things, like it's a foregone conclusion that like I pray, thank you so much that this day is going to be great. And so even if you're not a person of faith, I think there's a lot of value in this. When we are expecting good things to come, we're searching for that on the front end and moving through our day like it's going to be great. You can move through your day like it's not going to be great, and then maybe you're right and great. I mean, awesome. But if I'm not right, or if I'm right, doesn't matter, because it just puts me in a better mindset to move through my day. So even if I'm not correct and it doesn't turn out the way that I want it to, no harm, no foul. I like to pray expectantly, as if those things that I am asking for, that I want to who I want to be, what I want to be able to do today, is going to be something that is just going to show up for me. Now, I will say, for meditating, praying, and reading time, I go without interruptions. That means my kids have known since they were very, very little that if their little 4-year-old feet come down the steps and they see daddy on the couch or in my office and my eyes are closed, that barring an emergency, you should not bother dad. You can go up to your room, you can watch a little bit of TV, you can, draw, do something, but that time is dad's intentional time. Why? You are going to get a better dad if I get to do this. You get a less of a good dad if I don't do this. So that is something that I've instilled in my children since they were very, very little. My wife knows the same thing. The dog's the only one that doesn't listen to me and just stands there and breathes on my leg and looks at me longingly for like a really long time, and it's uncomfortable. But I built that in, that's no interruption time. So after I read and pray, before I kind of get up, I count this as part of that time. I rate my life. Now this is a weird one for people, but there's a reason that I do this. On a scale from 0 to 10, I rate how I feel about my life, my work, my marriage, my mental health, and my physical health. So these are a handful of things I rate every day. Why? Because I do this thing where I tend to overgeneralize. So it's like, business is horrible. My body feels horrible. My marriage is just not going the way I want it to right now. It feels like it's been ages since we've gotten along. But what I can do is go back and look at the numbers. At the end of the month, I average all those numbers and I see what my average was for the month. And this is a much longer process, but what this allows me to do eventually is really look at some of these core values in my life, the things that are the most important to me, and see where I am with them to see where I can make adjustments. And that, like I said, that's a whole nother thing where I have this idea of my ideal week and how I grade that and stuff like that. But even if you're just looking at those numbers and rating how you feel about some of the core things in your life, it proves to you that things aren't that bad sometimes. And if they are that bad, it lets you see that in black and white, and then you can make a shift. So I just do that in a Google spreadsheet that I made up. And it's that simple. And then the flip of that, number 6, is I do breakfast with my family every single day. My wife is incredible. She makes breakfast every morning for the family. And so we usually sit down and eat like a breakfast burrito at the table together, talk about our day, get excited, see like how'd you sleep, all those sorts of things. But it's intentional time. I'm not on my phone. I'm not watching TV. I'm planted where my feet are. And this is a good way to get your kids to not interrupt you, because they're going to have this built-in time. Even if I'm not eating breakfast, so a lot of times I'm fasting in the morning. If I'm fasting, then I still sit with my family and engage with them, ask them about their day, and get my kids excited about their day, because I am now feeling rooted in positivity and awesomeness. So I have more to give when I'm sitting down at the table with the fam.
Well, aren't you the cool guy?
I just said fam like I was cool. That was weird. Nowadays that I am doing this full time, As soon as breakfast is done, I go to the gym. Before, when I was still working in the school building every day, I would go to the gym after school, but I'm gonna make an evening routine video and I'll talk about that a little bit more. But now at this stage of my life, I like to get that out of the way as early as possible because I don't like going to the gym, and I'll talk about that in the next video. Then I get ready for work. So even if I'm working from home that day, I always get dressed. I find that I am far more productive when I get myself together instead of just wearing pajama pants all day.
I wouldn't be too comfortable doing that.
And then I go to work. The thing is, even when teaching, on my way to work, I was only listening to positive podcasts or playlists. I was never listening to the news. I'm not listening to the stock market. I'm not listening to find out what was going on last night. I'm not listening to the latest murder mystery podcast. None of that stuff. Why? Is any of that bad? No. Should you be in the know? Probably. However, I want to go in on 11. I think of it as like what would be playing in a locker room before a game? What would a fighter listen to? What are they playing as they're going into the ring? I want that feeling on me as I'm getting out of my car, as I'm walking up those steps, as I'm walking into that school. I want to be on not 10, I want to be on 11 if I can, and feeling great walking in, and not like, oh my gosh, there was another thing that happened last night, or oh my gosh, they cut the funding for the school. I don't want any of that with me. I want to be able to give the kids the gift of my presence and have that presence be the best that it can possibly be. So to that end, I have a short no list that I never, ever, ever, ever consume in the morning. And that list goes like this. No news, no social media, no heavy conversations with my family unless it is essential. So I'm not talking about finances. I'm not talking about an unexpected bill that came in. I'm not talking about anything heavy in the morning unless it's crucial, unless it's necessary. That's conversation I'd rather have after school because I don't want it jumping around in my brain because I'm trying to prime myself for awesome. And no garbage food. I don't do like, man, if my daughter who learned how to bake starts making cookies, I cannot stop myself from eating them. So I remove them from view and I try not to eat any kind of garbage in the morning. It is only stuff that's gonna make me feel great. And you know, doing all of this stuff, it really builds up in me over time where I just feel amazing in the morning. I actually feel great when I'm walking into school, when I'm walking into the office, when I'm speaking at a school. I do all these things still if I'm in a hotel room somewhere because it makes me feel great and like I can take on anything. Now, quick side note, when doing this stuff, I can go about 3 days of missing any parts of this without it really starting to affect me. But after 3 days, I do notice my mental is not as strong, my life rating goes down, and I just start feeling like not as good. If I go a week without doing this, that really starts messing with me. So I found that this is something that I don't just want to do, but I really need to do. I'd love to know something that you do in your morning routine that really helps you to get ready for your day. If you can leave that in the comment section below, I'm always looking to grow and to learn. So leave those podcasts, books, and ideas in the comment section below. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the like button. It really just helps us get to more teachers on the internet. That's it, gang. Peace.